The Galactic War College prided itself on educating the finest military minds across 1,000 species. Commander Zalkeith had taught strategic warfare for 20 cycles, and had seen every kind of student, from the methodical Servani tacticians to the aggressive Kryn shock troopers. But he had never seen anything like Gunnery Sergeant Rachel Morrison. The human sat in the back of his lecture hall, arms crossed, watching the holographic battle simulation with an expression that Zalkeith could only describe as amused. The scenario was a classic, two evenly matched forces fighting over a strategic choke point. It had taken the class 3 hours to reach a bloody stalemate. "Sergeant Morrison," Zalkeith called out, curiosity getting the better of him. "You've been very quiet. How would your species approach this scenario?" Morrison stood, her movements carrying a predatory grace that made several students instinctively lean away. She studied the hologram for maybe 10 seconds. "I'd poison their water supply, sir." The lecture hall fell silent. "Excuse me?" Zalkeith's translator struggled with the concept. "Water supply. Or food stores. Introduce a biological agent, wait 72 hours, walk in and secure the position." She shrugged. "Done by the weekend." A Servani student, his antennae quivering with distress, stood up. "But, you can't do that. The contamination would affect civilians. Non-combatants." "Yep," Morrison agreed calmly. "That's monstrous," another student exclaimed. Morrison's expression didn't change. "That's war." Zalkeith felt his teaching moment slipping into dangerous territory. "Surely humans don't actually employ such tactics?" "Not anymore," Morrison said. "We made them illegal." "Well, there you have it," Zalkeith began, relieved. "We made them illegal because we kept using them on each other and it was getting too effective." The silence that followed was deafening. A brave Zelnari student raised a crystalline appendage. "What do you mean, too effective?" Morrison pulled out her personal data pad. "May I, sir?" Zalkeith nodded, uncertain where this was going. The hologram changed, displaying text in Standard Galactic. "These are called the Geneva Conventions. They're a list of things humans aren't allowed to do during warfare." She scrolled through the document. "No chemical weapons. No biological weapons. No targeting civilians. No torture. No perfidy. No starvation as a weapon. No." Yes, interrupted a Kryn student dismissively. "All civilized species have such agreements." Morrison smiled, and Zalkeith felt his blood chill. "No," she said softly. "You have customs. Traditions. Things that aren't done because they're considered dishonorable." She gestured at the document. "These are rules we created because at some point in our history, we did all of these things. Extensively. Creatively. So effectively that we had to make them illegal to preserve our species." She pulled up another file. Historical images began flooding the hologram. Chemical weapons unleashing clouds of gas across trenches. Cities reduced to ash from firebombing. Population systematically starved. "We outlawed poison gas because we used it to kill millions. We banned biological weapons because we weaponized diseases that could wipe out continents. We prohibit torture because we developed hundreds of techniques and documented which ones worked best." The lecture hall had gone deathly quiet. Students stared in horror. "Every rule in this document," Morrison continued, her voice level and professional, "exists because some human, somewhere, at some point in our history, looked at the worst possible thing they could do to another human being and said, 'Yeah, let's try that.'" A student's translator emitted a sound of distress. "But, why? How could you?" "Because we come from a death world," Morrison said simply. "Earth tried to kill us every day for 4 million years. We learned to be creative about survival. And when we turned those survival instincts on each other, She trailed off, letting the images speak for themselves. Zalkeith found his voice. But humans seem so peaceful now. Diplomatic. Morrison's laugh was bitter. We're peaceful because we remember what happens when we're not. Every human child learns about these wars. About the holocausts, the genocides, the weapons too terrible to use. We teach our history not with pride, but as a warning. She closed the file, and the hologram returned to the original battlefield scenario. You asked how humans would approach this tactical situation. The truth is, we have 1,000 ways, most of them so horrific we banned them. The strategies we use now? These are the nice ones. The acceptable ones. The ones that let us sleep at night. Morrison sat back down. You want to know why humans have a no first strike policy in galactic conflicts? It's not because we're peaceful. It's because we know exactly what we're capable of, and we're terrified of becoming that again. Zalkeith dismissed the class early. As students filed out in stunned silence, he approached Morrison. Sergeant, I have to ask, you've read your own species' history. You know what horrors were committed. Doesn't that disturb you? Morrison met his eyes. Every damn day, sir. That's why I serve. Someone has to remember the price of forgetting those lessons. She paused at the door. The scariest thing about humans, Commander? It's not what we've done. It's that we had to write down rules to stop ourselves from doing it again. And we follow those rules not because we can't break them, but because we remember what happened the last time we did. That night, Zalkeith updated his teaching materials. A new section appeared in every war college curriculum across the galaxy: Human Warfare, a Study in Restrained Capability. The opening line read, "Never assume human pacifism indicates inability. Assume it indicates memory." Enrollment in Human Cultural Studies increased by 400% that semester. Every species wanted to understand the civilization that had looked into the abyss, seen what they were capable of, and chose to chain those capabilities behind rules and laws. Because the most terrifying military in the galaxy wasn't the one with the biggest weapons. It was the one that knew exactly how to use them, and chose not to.